That new car smell. Leather seats, 0 miles on the odometer. It feels amazing, doesn't it? You just signed the papers on a $35,000 car. You drove it off the lot, you feel successful, you feel like you've made it. But here's what just happened that the dealer didn't tell you. The second you drove off that lot, you lost $7,000. Gone in minutes. And over the next 5 years, that car won't cost you $35,000. It'll cost you closer to $60,000 when you factor in everything. Most people think the sticker price is the cost of a car. It's not even close. Today, I'm going to show you the real total cost of buying a new car, including all the hidden expenses that destroy your wealth. And I'm going to show you exactly how much money you're throwing away that could have made you rich instead. If you're thinking about buying a new car, or you just bought one, this video might make you sick, but it'll also save you from making this mistake again. Let's get into it. Let me tell you about someone you probably know. Maybe it's you. Let's call him Jake. Jake is 28 years old, makes $65,000 a year, and just bought a brand new car. Not even a luxury car, a normal, mid-range sedan, $35,000. Financed over 6 years at 5% interest because his credit is decent but not great. Jake feels good about this purchase. He did research, he negotiated, he got a good deal. He's been driving a beater for 5 years and finally decided he deserves something nice, something reliable, something that won't break down. He tells himself this is a smart financial decision because he'll have the car for 10 years, so it's an investment. He's wrong about almost everything. Here's Jake's reality over the next 6 years. The purchase. Car price, $35,000. Sales tax at 7%, $2,450. Registration and fees, $500. Total out the door, $37,950. The financing. Down payment, $5,000, which he took from his emergency fund. Amount financed, $32,950. Interest rate, 5%. Monthly payment, $515. Total payments over 6 years, $37,080. Total interest paid, $4,130. But wait, it gets worse. Insurance. Because it's a new car, he needs full coverage. Monthly premium, $180. His old car was $60. Annual cost, $2,160. 6-year total, $12,960. Registration. New cars have higher registration fees, average $350 per year. 6-year total, $2,100. Maintenance and repairs. But it's new, it won't need repairs? Wrong. Oil changes, tire rotations, inspections, $500 per year minimum. New tires at year 4, $800. Brake pads at year 5, $600. Other maintenance, $1,000. 6-year total, $4,400. Gas assumes 15,000 miles per year, 30 miles per gallon, $4 per gallon. Annual cost, $2,000. 6-year total, $12,000. Depreciation, the killer. Year 1, car loses 20% of value, down to $28,000, $7,000 gone. Year 2 loses 15% more, down to $23,800. Year 3 loses 15% more, down to $20,230. Year 4 loses 10% more, down to $18,207. Year 5 loses 10% more, down to $16,386. Year 6 loses 10% more, down to $14,747. After 6 years, Jake's $35,000 car is worth $14,747. He lost $20,253 in depreciation alone. The total real cost? Purchase price, $37,950. Interest, $4,130. Insurance, $12,960. Registration, $2,100. Maintenance and repairs, $4,400. Gas, $12,000. Total spent, $73,554. Jake spent $73,554 over 6 years to own a car now worth $14,747. The true cost of ownership was $58,973. He didn't buy a $35,000 car, he bought a $58,000 car. And here's the part that makes this truly devastating. Jake makes $65,000 a year,
After taxes, he takes home about $4,000 a month. His car payment alone is $515. That's 13% of his take-home pay just for the car payment. Add insurance of $180, and he's spending almost 18% of his income just on the car payment and insurance. That doesn't include gas, maintenance, or registration. For 6 years, Jake will struggle to save. He'll live paycheck to paycheck. He'll stress about money. And at the end, he'll have a 6-year-old car worth less than 20% of what he paid for it. This is the new car trap, and millions of people are in it right now.
Let's break down why buying a new car is one of the worst financial decisions most people make, and what each component of the true cost actually means. Depreciation, the wealth destroyer. This is the big one. Depreciation is the silent killer of wealth. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses 10 to 20% of its value. Instantly. You haven't even made the first payment and you're underwater on the loan. You owe more than the car is worth. Why does this happen? Because a new car is only new until someone owns it. Once it's titled to you, it's a used car. And used cars are worth less than new cars, a lot less. That first day depreciation is pure loss. There's no recovering it. It's gone forever. Over the first year, the car loses about 20% total. Years 2 and 3, it loses another 15% each year. By year 3, your car is worth about half what you paid. By year 5, it's worth maybe 35%. By year 10, if you keep it that long, it's worth 15 to 20% of the original price. This wouldn't matter if you paid cash and drove the car forever, but most people don't. They finance, which means they're paying interest on a depreciating asset. They're borrowing money at 5% to buy something losing value at 20% per year initially. That's financial suicide. Compare this to buying a 3-year-old used car. Someone else already ate the worst depreciation. You're buying the car for 50 to 60% of its new price, but it still has 70 to 80% of its useful life left. You're getting a much better value per dollar spent. Interest, paying for air. When you finance a car, you're paying interest on money you borrowed. But here's the thing. You're paying interest on a depreciating asset. Every month, you're paying the bank money to borrow funds for a car that's worth less than when you bought it. On a $35,000 car financed for 6 years at 5%, you'll pay over $4,000 in interest. That's $4,000 you give to a bank for literally nothing. You're not buying car with that money. You're just paying for the privilege of borrowing money to buy a depreciating asset. And it gets worse if your credit isn't great. Average car loan rates for decent credit are 5 to 7%. For poor credit, they can be 10 to 15% or higher. On a $35,000 car at 10% for 6 years, you'd pay over $8,000 in interest. You paid $43,000 for a $35,000 car that's now worth $15,000. This is why paying cash or buying used with a small loan is so much better. You eliminate or drastically reduce the interest expense. That's thousands of dollars you keep instead of giving to a bank. Insurance, the never-ending bill. New cars require full coverage insurance, liability, collision, comprehensive, the works, because the bank owns the car until you pay it off and they want it protected. This costs significantly more than liability-only insurance on an older paid-off car. For many people, especially younger drivers, full coverage on a new car can run $150 to $300 a month. That's $1,800 to $3,600 a year. Over 6 years, that's $10,800 to $21,600 just for insurance. Once the car is paid off and older, you might drop to liability only, cutting costs to maybe $60 to $80 a month. But for those 6 years of payments, you're stuck with the high premium. And here's a hidden cost. If you finance, you often have to pay the whole year's insurance up front, or monthly at a higher rate, which adds to your cash flow strain. Opportunity cost, the invisible killer. This is the cost nobody talks about, but it's the most expensive part. Every dollar you spend on a new car is a dollar you can't invest. Let's say Jake took that $5,000 down payment and $37,000 in total payments over 6 years and instead invested it.
$5,000 invested today at 8% annual returns grows to $7,347 in 6 years. The $37,000 in payments, if invested monthly at 8%, grows to $52,900 in 6 years. Total, $60,247. But Jake spent it on a car now worth $14,747. The opportunity cost is $45,500. That's the real cost of the new car, not just the $58,000 he spent, but the $45,000 he didn't earn by investing instead. Extend this over a lifetime. If Jake makes this mistake every 6 years from age 28 to 68, buying new cars instead of used and investing the difference, he'll lose over $1.5 million in potential investment gains. $1.5 million. The cost of always buying new cars isn't measured in tens of thousands. It's measured in hundreds of thousands or millions over a lifetime. The financing trap. Car dealers make more money on financing than they do on the car itself. They want you to finance. They make it easy. They make it feel affordable. Only $500 a month sounds manageable. They never talk about the total cost. They focus on monthly payment. This is deliberate. When you focus on monthly payment, you lose sight of the total cost. Dealers can extend the loan term to lower the payment while increasing the total interest you pay. They can add extras, warranties, services, all buried in the monthly payment. You think you're getting a good deal because the payment fits your budget, but you're actually paying thousands more than you should. A $35,000 car at 5% for 3 years is $1,059, too high for most people. Extended to 6 years, it's $515, much more manageable, but you pay an extra $2,000 in interest for that lower payment. The dealer wins, you lose. And here's the worst part, negative equity. If you trade in your old car that you still owe money on, dealers roll that negative equity into your new loan. You're paying for 2 cars at once. People end up owing $45,000 on a $35,000 car because they rolled in $5,000 in negative equity from the last car and added another $5,000 in dealer markup, warranties, and fees. This cycle repeats every few years, and people never escape. They're always underwater on car loans, always making payments, always struggling. This is by design. Maintenance and hidden costs. But new cars don't need repairs. This is the lie people tell themselves to justify the purchase. New cars need less maintenance than old cars, yes, but they still need maintenance. Oil changes, tire rotations, brake inspections, fluid flushes, tire replacements, brake pad replacements, battery replacements. All this costs money. And modern cars are more complex. They have computers, sensors, advanced systems. When something goes wrong, it's expensive to fix. A sensor goes bad, $300. Software needs updating, $150 at the dealer. These aren't major repairs, but they add up. Plus, there's the psychological factor. People with new cars are more likely to take them to the dealer for service, which costs double what an independent mechanic charges. They buy premium gas when regular is fine. They add extras because it's new, I want to take care of it. These small decisions add thousands over the ownership period. The better alternative. Here's what smart people do. They buy 3 to 5-year-old used cars. Someone else ate the depreciation, the car is still reliable, it still looks good, but it costs half what it did new. A $35,000 car, 3 years old, costs about $18,000. You can pay cash or finance a much smaller amount. You save $17,000 instantly. Insurance is cheaper because you can do liability only if it's paid off. Registration is cheaper because it's not new. You drive it for 5 to 10 years. When you're done, it's worth maybe $6,000. You lost $12,000 to depreciation instead of $23,000. You saved $11,000 right there. Add in lower insurance, less interest or no interest, and you easily save $25,000 to $30,000 by buying used instead of new. That's a year's salary for many people. The emotional trap. But I want a new car. I've worked hard. I deserve it. This is the emotional justification that destroys wealth. Yes, you've worked hard. No, you don't deserve to throw away $50,000 on a depreciating asset. What you deserve is financial freedom. You deserve to retire comfortably. You deserve to not stress about money. You don't get those things by buying new cars. You get them by making smart financial decisions that might not feel as good in the moment, but create massive benefits over time. The new car gives you a dopamine hit for a few weeks, then it's just your car. You stop noticing it's new, it becomes normal. But the payments continue for 6 years. The high insurance continues. The loss of wealth continues. You traded a brief emotional high for years of financial strain. That's a terrible trade.
Let me give you the action steps based on your situation. If you already bought a new car, step 1, don't panic. The money's spent. Learn from it and don't repeat the mistake. Step 2, pay it off as fast as possible. Every extra dollar you put toward the loan saves you interest and gets you out of debt faster. Cut other expenses and attack this loan. Step 3, drive it into the ground. The only way to offset the depreciation hit is to keep the car for 10 to 15 years. Get your money's worth. Don't trade it in early and repeat the cycle. Step 4, when it's paid off, keep making the payment to yourself. Put that $500 a month into a savings account. In 3 years, you'll have $18,000 cash to buy your next car outright. No more loans, no more interest, no more being underwater. Step 5, promise yourself this is the last new car you'll ever buy. From now on, you buy used. You let someone else eat the depreciation. You keep your wealth. If you're thinking about buying a new car, step 1, don't. Seriously, just don't. Buy a 3 to 5-year-old used car instead. Step 2, run the numbers. Calculate the true total cost of ownership for the new car: purchase, interest, insurance, registration, maintenance, gas, minus resale value after your ownership period. Then compare that to a used car. The difference will shock you. Step 3, save and pay cash. If you can't afford to pay cash for a car, you can't afford the car. Save up, buy used, avoid debt. Step 4, focus on reliability, not newness. Brands like Toyota and Honda are reliable for 200,000 miles. A 10-year-old Camry with 80,000 miles has 120,000 miles left. That's a decade of driving for $7,000. Step 5, invest the difference. If you would have spent $70,000 on a new car but spent $25,000 on used, take that $45,000 difference and invest it. In 20 years at 8% returns, that's $209,000. You just turned a car decision into a retirement fund. The real truth. Here's what it comes down to. Cars are tools. They get you from point A to point B. That's their job. A new car doesn't do that job better than a 3-year-old used car. It just costs twice as much and loses value faster. Rich people understand this. They don't buy new cars unless they have so much money it doesn't matter. They buy used luxury cars if they want nice cars, or they buy reliable used cars and invest the difference. They focus on building wealth, not looking wealthy. Poor and middle-class people buy new cars to feel successful. They tie their identity to what they drive. They finance expensive cars they can't afford because it makes them feel rich, but they're not rich. They're broke, driving a depreciating asset, making payments for 6 years, and wondering why they can't get ahead financially. The new car is a trap. It's marketed as a symbol of success, but it's actually a symbol of financial illiteracy. It's one of the fastest ways to destroy wealth legally available. Every new car you buy costs you hundreds of thousands in potential investment returns over your lifetime. Stop buying new cars. Buy used, pay cash, drive them forever. Invest the money you save. This one decision, repeated over a lifetime, can make the difference between retiring comfortably and working until you die. If this video changed how you think about buying cars, hit that like button.
If you want more financial reality checks that go against what advertisers and dealers want you to believe, subscribe and turn on notifications. Share this with anyone who's thinking about buying a new car. You could save them from making a $50,000 mistake. The true cost of a new car is your financial future. Don't pay it. I'll see you in the next one.